now, what's going on, everybody? My name is Mike Brown, aka ReviewKingMB, and I am here to review and talk about Dawn of the Dead, which is the remake of the George Romero film. This came out in 2004, and this is the unrated director's cut that was directed by Zack Snyder. Now, the plot of this movie is it's the start of the zombie apocalypse. What else? And we meet a whole group of characters who come together and sort of try to find refuge at a mall. And while they're staying there, they're all trying to figure out what to do next and survive this zombie outbreak. Now, what I think of Dawn of the Dead, the remake, is I love this movie. I do. I love this film so much. It's definitely my favorite zombie film of all time. And the fact that it's a remake, I might have to say it's one of my favorite remakes of all time. I mean, this movie has a lot going for it. Let's talk about the characters. First things first. Sarah Polley plays sort of the main character in a sense. The film starts with her. She's this character, Anna, who this starts with her. Not only are we with her before this happens, but we see her husband get killed by one of the little kid neighbors. Like, she gets impacted first, and we see her trying to escape. Like, the scene where she's in her car and she sees the whole neighborhood, and it's chaos, and there's people running everywhere, people getting run over by cars, and it's insane. One of the best intros to a horror film, and she's desperately trying to escape. She meets up with Ving Rhames, who he plays Kenneth, and he might be one of the most badass characters you would ever want to find yourself aligned with in the zombie apocalypse. He's Ving Rhames, and he has some of the best one-liners or just badass dialogues, and you can tell that he's more out for himself. I mean, he's willing to help some of these people, but they're not his main concern. They run into Jake Weber, who plays Michael. He is also with Mekhi Phifer and his pregnant girlfriend. And Mekhi Phifer I like a lot as an actor. It's kind of weird because I don't see him a lot anymore. I mean, here and there he pops up, but back around this time, you always saw him in films. I really liked him as an actor. And Michael Kelly plays CJ. CJ is, I have to say, my favorite character in this film. When they go to the mall, there's 3 security guys who have sort of taken over the mall. It's their place to hide out. And it's a little confrontational at first with them in the group because they're trying to lay claim to this place and who's going to call the shots. And CJ is the leader of that security team, and he's kind of a dick at first. He's definitely out for himself. It's understandable when it comes down to him saying that he doesn't want to die. He will kill all of these people to make sure he survives. But his character definitely is just likable. He comes around towards the end, and he becomes a very important and a badass part to the group. Also, as far as comic relief goes, because yeah, this movie's a horror film, yeah, there's death everywhere, yeah, it's bloody and gory, but there's one character who just, he makes me laugh every time. There's some funny scenes here throughout, but Ty Burrell, who some people might recognize nowadays from Modern Family, he's in this film, and he is the ultimate douchebag. I mean, CJ might come off like that at the beginning, but ultimately you see he's a good guy. Ty Burrell, there's nothing to like about his character, just besides his quick wit and his insults and just the way that he talks shit over and over again. And you almost wonder, why do they keep this guy around? He's such an asshole, he's such a dick. But when you get towards the end and they sort of discover that they need to leave, they can't stay at this mall forever, they need to find some place to go to survive, and they figure out, well, let's use his boat. He has a boat, like a yacht. Let's use that to go off in the ocean and find a nearby island because the outbreak couldn't have made it that far, right? Let's now talk about the zombies. You can't talk about a zombie apocalypse movie without talking about the zombies. These zombies are some of the scariest zombies you could ever see in a film. Not only is the makeup and the practical effects awesome, I love some of the effects and how some of the zombies look. Almost like each and every one of them have their own unique look, and they're memorable in their own ways. But they run. And I know there's been other zombie films after this that have done running zombies. Sure, you've seen it before, but this movie at least was one of the first that had running zombies, and running zombies scare the fuck out of me. If they're done right, they can be some of the most terrifying zombies because, you know, you can see some zombie movies or even on The Walking Dead, usually they walk. And I'm not saying that's not scary, it is scary, especially when there's a lot of them. But when you see some of the scenes, like when they first get to the mall and they're trying to break open the door to get inside, and those group of zombies, like, notice them and then just start running towards them. They're shooting at the one zombie in particular, and he's just taking the bullets in the chest and he's not slowing down. I'm like, fuck. If the zombie apocalypse ever happened in real life and they ran, we're fucked. There's no surviving something like that. Hell, even towards the end of the film, where they do try to make their escape, you see just how many, the hordes of zombies that are out there, or throughout the film, where they start surrounding the mall, and it's just hundreds upon hundreds, damn near thousands by the end, of undead people. It's just, it blows my mind every time. I should talk a little bit about Zack Snyder, who's the director, because I know some people are very, very indifferent on Zack Snyder nowadays, and I understand it. You know, he might have some wins, some losses. Some people might say all losses, but look, I look at him and I say that he's made more good movies for me than not. So, and this was like one of his first directed movies, I'm pretty sure. And I love everything about what he does, and here are some of his choices, not only the style and how the movie is shot, but even the music choices that he has, like the Johnny Cash song, When the Man Comes Around, at the very beginning of the movie, like the intro credits, where they're showing all of the breaking news and all of the chaos going on in the different countries. That song almost fits perfectly. He uses both versions of Get Down with the Sickness, which even the old version I thought was very creative, and I liked the way that he did that. And then Tyler Bates' score. Wow, talk about one of the best horror movie scores, at least in the last few years. And also the little Easter eggs that Snyder put in, almost as a tribute to the original Dawn of the Dead. I know a lot of people might think it's blasphemy for me to say that I like this so much better than the original. I understand if you like the original more, that's fine, but you have to respect that Zack Snyder put in like those moments on the news where Ken Foray, who was the main character of the original movie, he had that quick scene. He's the pastor talking about why this apocalypse is happening. Very haunting scene. And then Tom Savini as like one of the cops who's talking about how to kill these zombies. Just a great little Easter egg. And I talked about how ultimately they want to get to this island with this boat. So they build these reinforced buses, which is badass, and they're trying to drive through it, and they're trying to set off these propane explosions to get through these hordes. Very awesome chase scene. And I'm not going to get too spoily with it, even though I know this movie's like, what, 11 years old at this point, but still, it's almost a depressing ending, right? It's not as depressing as it could have been. I guess that's the only thing that makes me a little upset about it. But either way, clearly you can tell I love this film. I enjoy this film. I've seen it so many times that rewatching it now was a lot of fun. I have to admit that. Anyways, guys, let me know in the comments below, what do you think of the Dawn of the Dead remake? Do you like it as much as I do, or do you think the original is that much better? Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Later!